Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys haven't already, please press the subscribe button and comment, like, and share my videos. That help me out so much. So I had an idea of videos I wanted to do, and like one interest that I have is anything that has to do with crime or any unsolved things or just unfair like justices and all that stuff. And so one little series I thought about doing for this channel is talking to you guys about one crime that is still unsolved to this day in every state of the United States of America. So the way I'm gonna be doing this series or videos is just doing 15 states today in this video, 15 states in the next video, and then the last 20 on the third video. I'll be doing stories along with starting from the west to the east of the United States. So what that means is basically like Washington and California and Oregon all the way down to Maine and New York and all the other sites. So right now I have 15 states that I'll be going into. So the first one is Washington. In this topic, I'll be talking about the murders of Michael Johnson and Rochelle Robinson. So if I'm looking down a lot, it's because I took notes because, obviously I'm not going to remember all these stuff. So here's my notes for everything. So Michelle and Rachel, I don't know how you say her name, were allegedly in a relationship because Michael, he was married at that time. So this was a secret affair that they had with each other. On June 1994, they were both found murdered in Tacoma, Washington. Michael's body was found near Rachel's car and was found with gunshots the back of his head, and his throat was cut like a slit. Rachel's body was found 5 miles away from her car from that instant with her throat slashed as well. And some believe that they were murdered because of Michael's involvement in black magic. The next one I'll be talking about is in Oregon, and a lot of you might know about this person who he goes by Ted Bundy. And there's a lot of documentaries about the things he's done. He's definitely kidnapped and murdered several girls and pretended he would give them rights, and since he was so nice and he had a well-mannered put with him, these girls, trusted this guy, Ted Bundy. But the story with this is that he is one of America's top serial killers. And the reason why he is unsolved because when they did take him to court, and they didn't know how many women or men that he had killed, because he only said a number of people he did kill and admit to, but he did not admit to all the other ones. So to this day, authorities don't know how many people he did kill and kidnap. So that's still a mystery. There's still hidden bodies possibly somewhere out there that still haven't been found that could have been linked to him or stuff like that. The next state I'll be doing is California. The death of Michael Van Enster. On April 15, 1994, the body of Michael was found floating in the water off of Point Loma Beach. She was horribly mutilated. Her leg was cut off. She had flesh ripped out of her body. She had bite marks and bruises. Enster's clothing was never found. When they found her body, she was obviously naked, which authorities didn't find somewhat reasonable because around that time it was 60 degrees, and they knew if she went out, it was too cold for someone to go out on a swim, and so they never found her clothes. Whoever did this to her took her clothes, obviously to hide more evidence, but they later found out that she was attacked and thrown into the water. When autopsies were done, the person who did the autopsy said that the flesh marks was because of white sharks had bit her and it took her leg, and which later he had confessed that he knew nothing about sharks, and he did not believe a white shark or a blue shark could have done this to her. So with the investigation and his honesty coming out, they had to change all the evidence. But this case is still open. They don't have much to work with. When they did the autopsy and they opened her up, her lungs were filled with sand. So the next state I'll be doing is Nevada. In this case, we'll be talking about the Jeanne Moore girl. She vanishes. So on April 1992, Moore and her fiance Al Henderson went on vacation to Laughlin, or something like that, Laughlin, Nevada. Henderson, her fiance, said that the last time he had saw his fiance was when she was playing her favorite slot machine, and that was the last time that he has ever saw her. The fifth state I'll be doing is Idaho. The topic would be Janice Foyles. On December 1969, Janice, a former student of U of I, was closing a restaurant for the evening, her evening shift. She was found behind the counter with multiple hammer hits to her head. They never found who had done this to her. The case is still ongoing. It's still open, but it's inactive. No one is trying to figure out who had killed her, what was their motive for this, because a lot of people that knew her or her family says she was a shy girl. She didn't, wasn't out there a lot. She didn't care to be around so much friends, and so the family believed whoever did this to her possibly didn't know her. The next state I'll be doing is Utah. And the topic would be Sherry Black. Sherry Black was beaten, stabbed, and killed in November 2010 while working at B&W Billiards and Books. This is a place where her and her family owned, and also, in the last case, the attacker only attacked this girl, just like the other story, without any reason. This girl also didn't know of anyone, and police did not find any DNA or any of the partial fingerprints close to any suspects that they believe could have been it. The next state I'll be talking about is Arizona, and the subject is Michael Biggs, or Mikkel Biggs, because it is a girl, so I think it is Mikkel. In 1999, Mikkel Biggs was kidnapped outside her home while waiting for the ice cream truck, how she usually does with her and her sister. Her younger sister found Mikkel's bicycle and loose change across the street. To this day, this little girl has never been found. The next state I'll be talking about is New Mexico. So the topic would be the disappearance of Tara Lee Calico, something like that. Tara Lee Calico, if I'm saying it right, I'm not sure. Tara Lee Calico disappeared on a morning bike ride on September 20th, 1988. She was last sighted on Highway 47 in Valencia County. Calico's cassette tape was found on the side of the road, but she was missing. Her bike was also missing, the one that she took with her, and still to this day, she has not been found. The next state I'll be talking about is Colorado, and the topic would be Leroy Dreith. And if I'm saying these names wrong, I'm sorry guys, they're names I've never heard before to me. I've never heard these names, so I might be pronouncing them wrong. But Leroy Dreith, in 1968, Leroy was leaving his girlfriend's home. On his way home, he had crashed into a tree, killing him instantly. Many believed he committed suicide, but later investigation shows otherwise. He had ended up with stab wounds across his neck, which opened up the investigation to see who could have been the suspect. Still to this day, it is not known who had killed Leroy Dreith. It's so hard saying that name. Okay, the next state would be Montana, and this is the murder of Miranda Fenner. In November 1998, 18-year-old Miranda was working in a video rental store in Laurel. Okay, an unknown person came into the store, dragged her to the back of the store, stabbed her multiple times, and slit her throat. She was able to get out of the store and flag down a motorcyclist, which then he was able to call the police, but later on she was pronounced dead in the hospital. The killer left no evidence, so there is still no trace of who had done this or why he had done this, because just like the other two last stories with girls in the stores, she and her family had said that she was also shy, and that she kept to herself also, just like how the other two stories of the other two girls in the stores. So that case is still open, and the killer is nowhere to be found. The next story I'll be talking about will be in North Dakota, and it is about Russell Turcotte, something like that. On July 12, 2002, Russell called his mom for money to get on a bus ride home, but he never made it back home, and he was found 4 months later, covered in leaves and frost. So he went missing in July, so that has to say July, August, September, October, November. So November. So by November, they found his body. So the next state I'll be doing is South Dakota, and this would be on the topic of baby Andrew. So Lee Litz, Lee Litz is the person that discovered this newborn baby in a ditch. So she discovered this newborn baby in a ditch in 1981. She had paid for this baby's funeral because she had felt bad that some mother had left her newborn baby that was only born for 2 hours just out in the ditch. She believed that this baby needed a formal funeral. This baby was buried at St. Michael Cemetery on the Cliff Avenue. To this day, linking DNA from this baby and trying to trace it back to the mother is given no leads. There's no information about this mother who had left basically her 2-hour born baby literally in a ditch and died. To this day, they never found the mother that killed this baby, basically leaving him to die outside on his own. So number 13 would be Nebraska, and this would be on the murder of Leah Rollins. On March 10, 1997, Leah Rollins was robbed and murdered. She was shot 3 times. When this occurred, she was working at the gas station. She just barely got hired on to be a manager at this gas station, and the security cameras in this gas station caught the guy and the car he was driving. But since the camera's quality wasn't the best, they weren't able to identify the guy or the license plates, either the front or the back of the car. And after that, they stopped investigating. So the next state I'll be doing is Kansas, and this has to do with the I-70 serial killer, and this story didn't have that much information to it, so I'll be brief. So during the early 1990s, 9 separate women were shot and killed in different shopping malls across I-70 highway. So they had knew that there was a serial killer out on the loose, and they never found him after his 9th attack or the 9th attack that was linked to all the others. There was still more killings of women, but FBI and agents and authorities didn't believe it was linked to the specific serial killer. So in the end, they only called him the I-70 serial killer, with only 9 women he had killed. So the last state I'll be doing is Oklahoma, would be The Girl Scout Murders of 1977. On June 13, 1977, Scott in Mayes County, 3 young girls were murdered and sexually assaulted in their tents. These girls were in the ages of 8, 9, and 10. Authorities believed that these murders had to take place from 2 to 4 a.m. where everyone was asleep, and they decided to attack these 3 specific girls. After they were murdered in their tent, quietly, they dragged their bodies 150 yards to a nearby trail, where later on one of the camp counselors was walking to go take a shower, and she found these 3 girls, discovered these 3 dead girls next to the trail. Okay, and that's pretty much it for my first little part of my series. If you guys like this little series, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe. I think I'll be doing more crime videos since that is something I am more interested in. So maybe I'll be just doing my channel about crime information things. Thanks for watching my video, and I hope to see you guys back in my next one. Bye guys.